Another day, another Blood and Crescent Productions record that has sold out instantly. Today we are talking about
Did you get one, John?
no.
Don't even bother.
They're long gone. They're long gone before you could get there. Today we are talking about Arbor, Ultima Thule. This is one of many side projects from Taurus, New York-based black metal dude who runs Blood and Crescent. Also, Fell Winter. Also, Gauntlet Ring.
They're only his releases, aren't they, that he puts out? I think. Could be wrong.
Oh, I don't know. I believe there are some others, but yeah, don't quote me on that.
Largely him.
Largely him, yeah. Sell out immediately. Real hardcore following.
Yeah.
Real hardcore following. So yeah, this is the fourth full length from the Arbor side project. The first one coming in 2023. So busy, very busy guy, man.
Well,
Considering,
he's done a lot of stuff even with this one. I think he did like 5 demos before the first full length came out. So
yeah,
this project's had a lot of releases as well as what he's done with Fell Winter, Gauntlet Ring. There's others as well, isn't there? They're the only two I know.
well, yeah.
Particularly well.
I was going to say, yeah. So Arbor is probably the least of my known dealings with Taurus. I think Fell Winter and Gauntlet Ring are probably up there a bit more for me. So
I think he's got other projects as well.
Bloody hell, busy. So this one came out last week, but it's an interesting listen. I'm not too familiar with Arbor's work, so it's like I wasn't really knowing what to expect. I didn't think it was going to be 3 songs of like very long song length and structure. I didn't realize that was the kind of setup.
But didn't he on the last Fell Winter thing we covered? Wasn't what the main song on that quite long as well?
Yeah, actually, I think it was maybe like 12 minutes, was it? But
It's something
so
like
the
that.
last
Yeah,
track the last track on this is 20 plus minutes, isn't it?
It's 20 plus minutes. Yeah.
It's basically a progressive metal album. Yeah, I guess quick overview. It's kind of it's black metal in essence. Leans into a lot of like atmospheric and raw tendencies. Hatred, darkness, paganism, nature are the themes. It's
Venus was telling.
Says the Encyclopedia of the Metal Archives. But this, man, I actually really enjoyed this record. I thought it was very organic. There was a lot of exploration of pace changes and ideas, but the way that it was put across was very organic.
It was, man. Yeah, I mean, I really, really enjoyed this. I have to say, this might be because I can't remember the name of it now, but I really love that Fell Winter full length he put out a couple of years ago. But I think this might overtake it as my favorite release of his. It's I thought it was amazing. There's the I suppose the difference between this and his other projects, it's quite hard to tell because I feel like they evolve quite a lot. But this one, guitar tone wise, I think is what I was picking up mostly on it. It's quite fuzzed, wasn't it? It had that sort of thick, fuzzy kind of vibe, which I absolutely loved.
Yeah, but there was still a lot of top end in the.
Yeah,
it was still came through with that very icy atmosphere. The production on this was really, really good.
yeah.
I thought the drum sound was amazing, and the drum choices of like, what choosing what beat to use, because a lot of these sections were like very drawn out. He wasn't scared to let a section go on for like minutes at a time, sometimes 5 minutes. I'm sure like in the last song there was a section went on for ages, but the drums just sort of like would change the pacing and dictate the kind of overall feel of that, which I thought worked really well. But there were some really interesting choices of there was in one song in particular, track 2, the Light Lost in Darkest Dreamscape. There was a riff towards the end that had like blasting, but it was like on a closed hi-hat.
Yeah, that was cool.
I thought that was
awesome,
that was like my favorite bit on the record, because it stood out, and it really made the space like that you were listening to like quite. It was quite thin in a way, but it worked so well.
There was a lot of clarity, wasn't there? You could
Yeah,
really pick, like, the fact that you could really pick out that closed hi-hat
yeah,
during the blast, like, showed how well recorded the drums were. And I love his drumming as well. I think he's an excellent drummer, man. He's got that, like, um it's quite, I don't, it's not minimal, but it doesn't sound like he's got like a huge kit or anything like that. But it sounds like he hits hard as well. And I really love, as you said, his choices in beats and also
feels.
drum fills as
Yeah,
well.
it's
Yeah.
the feels are amazing, and it's the little embellishments that he'll put in, like within that like kind of closed hi hat section. There'll just be like the odd um hi hat
He'll
opening.
open it slightly.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was things like that would just really what make this kind of album really unique. Um, I guess we'll start with song one. Well, I say we'll start with. We've actually kind of jumped around a little bit already, but track one, For All and None, starts off with this kind of like I don't want to say clean, but quite a kind of, it's like a picked out guitar motif, isn't it? But then it all kind of
Yeah.
comes
But it's cleaner compared to pretty much everything else, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And then it all kind of comes together with distortion and like a bit louder. But this section goes on for a while, and then it sort of transitions into there's like a 4 hi-hat count, and it transitions into another section. But again, it's all drawn out. It's like,
Mm.
and that's only kind of like mid-tempo blast with just kind of 2 notes floating between the two. And it's just like it takes about 2 minutes 30 before you kind of get a real lead line of melody, and it's
Yeah.
really
Oh,
not.
that's great, that bit, though.
Yeah, and when it hits, it really hits, doesn't
But
it?
that's the point, isn't
I
it?
know,
I
yeah,
suppose
yeah,
because he's dragging it out. It's quite hypnotic,
yeah,
almost. And then when he makes the change, it's really satisfying because it's taken a while to get there,
yeah.
and it sounds so intentional. And vocally as well, I feel that the vocals are quite sparse on this.
Mm,
It's not it's not like he does lots and lots of vocals. I think it's more about letting the music breathe and the vocals coming in at points to variate sections. But I think it works really, really well.
I was gonna say, I think the vocal choice, placement, and like style was like perfect.
Yeah.
There's moments where like a section will go on for a while, and there'll just be the odd wretched kind of like grunt
Yeah, yeah,
almost,
yeah, yeah.
and you're just like,
It's perfect.
yeah. I was like, that is fucking great. Really cool. Yeah, track two, Light Lost in the Darkest Dreamscape. Again, very long atmospheric kind of intro, quite mid tempo with like these synth bells going on. The synth production was really cool, worked really nicely.
Quite clean, weren't they, compared to the guitars? So they really sort of jumped
Yeah,
out the mix in a good way.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it was a nice contrast, I thought.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah, really good.
And another thing that's really great, Mike, the hooks on the guitar riffs,
Oh, yeah.
really catchy.
Yeah. It's
Really,
really melodic, isn't it, overall?
it is, yeah, because it still has that kind of like evil undertone, but it is very melodic and like, yeah, I don't want to say uplifting, but bright in a way.
Yeah. This song, I thought this song was it was my favorite on this, and I also think it's my favorite thing he's ever done was this song. It was
I'm in agreement.
it was amazing.
Yeah,
It was fucking, I tell you what, it was riff after riff. At each section,
yeah.
like the next riff that came, I was like, fucking hell. Every one I was like, whoa, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Every one.
this song was the most riff focused, wasn't it? I feel like
Oh, it was a riff fest.
yeah, it was a riff fest to put it lightly. And again, we had that kind of the closed hi hat blast bit that we spoke about earlier towards the end of this song. Yeah, I think this song is definitely like the standout one for me. But I guess
Can I just talk about a bit on it though?
oh
There was a
please, yeah,
part that was amazing. It was I can't quite get the it was difficult to get timestamps on this because of the it was just on YouTube. But there was a change, I think about 3 minutes in, and it went onto a double pedal, and that's when the vocals came in. But then afterwards, the riff after, it was this it was this amazing riff where he was doing the drum accents on these like chord changes, like bass. It
Mm,
sounded almost a bit punk hardcore,
yeah.
and it was like quite headbanging. It was fucking awesome, man. It was amazing.
There was actually quite a bit of like punky hardcore influence throughout, and I kind of want to talk about that when we go into track three, Born from the
Mm.
Heretic's Vision. This song was the kind of I don't want to say outlier, but this was the kind of this was half
Well,
of
it took up half of it,
this was
didn't it?
half
Yeah.
of the record. Yeah, 20-minute song, interesting. There was a lot of ideas thrown into this. Like the first few minutes was your kind of usual affair, the kind of what you'd been hearing prior, but then they bring in this really drawn out moment of like just playing it may have just been like the open top open like E string just continuously with these like little embellishments on the drums, but it actually reminded me of Converge a little bit. It was kind of something that they do on "You Fail Me." There's a track where it's just like ringing out on the open.
Oh, that's the title track.
Yeah, the title track on that. And I got a kind of like hardcore, kind of post-hardcore feel on that actually, even though it was very different in delivery.
Well, I was actually getting stoner vibes throughout some of this
Yeah,
as well when it was on those kind of more simple, heavier chords, and he was drawing it out. Like I was getting almost Kayasi kind of. I don't want to say Fu Manchu because that was too thingy, but like with the fuzz
yeah.
guitar, you had that sort of thing to it, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it, man. I really really enjoyed this album.
Do you think you're the first ever person to compare Arbor to Fu Manchu?
Yeah. Incorrectly as well. I did. I just sort of meant it had that
I-
stonery vibe, but not Fu Man. I mean, Fu Manchu. There was, they're both quite melodic.
yeah, they could fit on the same bill.
Yeah, support them.
Yeah. No, I totally understand where you're coming from with that kind of drawn out feel. And again, like when it would all come together, the drums would like the guitars would keep a similar kind of thing going on, but it would be the drums that would dictate how you're kind of feeling in that moment. Like when it all comes in after that slow drawn out moment, it's still quite slow and beat like
Yeah,
headbangy, but then it kind of picked up to a bit more punky, and then the double kick would go, and it would but the bass, the guitar was kind of doing the kind of the low end looping stuff. It was all
yeah.
yeah, it was all really well done. I don't know if he had to go back into that kind of drawn out section again towards the end, because he did, and it kind of stayed on it for a little bit longer. It was
I
quite
think though it probably tied in because there was there was a moment in the song. It was around 8 9 minutes when it sort of stopped and went into this like picture of it sort of rung out, and then there was, and that almost felt like, because I'll be honest, when I listened to this the first time, I didn't look at the track listing,
yeah,
and in my mind at that point I thought it was going into another song.
yeah,
I thought that was going to be a separate part. So I wonder whether it was quite intentional to bring stuff back in from the beginning of it to tie it all together to make it make sense
mm,
as a 20-minute song. Because to me, you could, without that, you could have probably just cut it there and had it as 4 songs, and it would have been cut in half the track 3. But I
yeah.
think that's why. I think it was to tie in the beginning to the end.
Or was it to get a B side of one
Oh,
length? You know,
maybe. Yeah. There. Well, yeah.
who
That's
knows?
could be.
But
Yeah. Who
yeah,
knows?
this album's really cool. It's like 40 minutes long, but it does feel, it feels a bit longer, but not in like a boring, drawn out way. It's not like one of those ones where sometimes a 30-minute album is done quickly, and you're like, oh bloody hell, is that it? Like
Mm,
I feel like this fills the time quite well.
yeah. And for me, I I love the production on it. I found it so nice to listen to as well that I could just keep listening and listening to it. I didn't like all the sections were drawn out, but it didn't. I think it just be drawn out for hours. I was
Yeah,
fine
yeah.
with it.
Well, I was going to say it's not like it has, without sounding harsh, because I actually really love this album, but there was like a background element to it. Like I had it on while I was working quite a lot, and I was just like, I was happy to just have that on. It wasn't too demanding, but when you were listening,
No,
you could hear little cool things going on. It was yeah,
but I think
really
that's
cool.
because it's got that sort of hypnotic feel to it as well. That
Yeah,
it can sit there and it doesn't have to grab your attention for you to like to really enjoy it. There was some great, actually. I really like I'm talking about like long parts dragged out. The last sort of 5 minutes or so, roughly, I think was one
yeah,
kind of part, but it was great, and you could tell, and I'm glad. And when he went into it, I remember thinking, right, there's 5 minutes left. I actually do hope this is the last riff because it feels right as a
yeah,
way of ending it. And there were some really nice simps that came back in again, with some nice little, not flourishes as such, but there was some really nice little parts that he was putting in the simps. They were a little bit more evolved than they were at the beginning, in the sense that they weren't just sort of held sustained
yeah,
chords. There was some little other bits in there as well. Um, and it ended the album really well. There was a bit actually. Sorry, I know I'm jumping around a bit. It's really fucking difficult when you can't timestamp everything
Yeah.
because I've just got notes. But there was a bit where the guitars were sort of just playing on their own, and then another guitar came in, or I couldn't tell if it was a bass because it was actually a bit more cleaner and cut through it. It was sort of playing the riff underneath the fuzz,
Mm. What, in track 3?
nearish the end on track 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it sounded really nice, but I haven't got the timestamp to actually say where it was. But you'd know it when you hear back.
Basically, you love the end bit of track 3.
I loved all of track 3. I loved the whole album. I really
Yeah.
did. I thought track 2 stood out because, as you said, it was so riffy, but the riffs were so good. Like it it really. I just found that whole track like exciting to listen to because I couldn't. I was shocked in a great way at how each section, like, you heard a really great bit and then you
Yeah.
were like, oh, what's next? And when it comes, you go, oh my god, it's just as
Yeah,
good.
if not better.
What the
So
what's he doing? If not better, what's he doing? But yeah, this is great, man. This I could see this being in my album of the year by the end of the list by the end of the year.
well, he's gone early with it. Look, there's potential. Do let us know what you thought of this. Like, where does this stand in like his whole discography?
Yeah, I need to know because I'll be honest, I don't know this project as well as Fell Winter or Gauntlet Ring, and I don't know his other ones at all. But this one's the one that I've never really
Dived
jumped
into.
into before. So this was my first listen to a proper release of this project, and I really liked it. So I'd love to know what of his other stuff's worth checking out as well from Arbor.
Yeah, let us know if you are in the know because that would be helpful. And if you,
John, is this our 100th video?
I don't know if this is. I actually think this is our 101.
Oh fuck, we did. All
Yeah,
right.
I think.
Yeah.
Wish us,
Churning them out.
wish us a if you got to this,
Not keeping count,
if you
mate.
got to this point, give us a congratulations for getting past 100.
Yeah.
Give us a like.
Congratulate yourself.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. Congratulate yourself for getting to this point. Listen, if you did like what you heard today, give us a subscribe because we put out this kind of content every Wednesday and Friday covering the latest in black metal releases, and we will hopefully catch you in the next one.